How is everybody doing this morning? Mitchell's in the house. Hey, Tom, how you doing, buddy? Buy listing. Neat. Brody, morning, Tom. Ooh. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Nice to have you here. Let's start the show. We got stuff to do. We got things to talk about. It's an amazing day. It's an amazing and important day here in the world of Magic the Gathering. Not only is it because we've got access to the fourth quarter earnings results? We have those. Saving for Force Field. That's a good pickup, Tom. Go for it. It's a good one. Unlimited version? Going for the beta version, perhaps? What's on your bucket list here, Tom? That's a good card. Glad to have you here this morning, Tom. Mitchell's joining us. Who else we got here? Are we ready to start the show? Tom's here. Let me pour some coffee here. I got some headlines for you folks. Just like a corduroy pillow. We're making headlines here this morning on the Bro Show. You guys ready to do this? You ready to go? I think so. We could probably start. Why not? All right, let's do it. Good morning, Tom Mitchell and company, fans of Magic the Gathering, friends of mine and friends of the channel, the 200 and 300. It's like the Spartans, right? Don't you feel like a Spartan? We have joined the 300. Oh, gosh, that movie is good. Shield Wall. No, that's Vikings. But I think the Spartans did it first. What a great movie. Brody's all flexed out and ready to go here this morning at the stock desk. It's Friday. It's April 28th, 2023. Thank you, folks, for joining me here today on the morning show. We got some interesting news. Just like a corduroy pillow, we're going to be making headlines this morning with some of these Magic the Gathering news articles. Join me this morning, and each and every other weekday morning, I had to take a couple of days off for some family business, and I got that taken care of. So we're back in business here at the stock desk. Never a doubt, Brody's here. Give a shout out. Don't forget to hit that, smash that like button, the notification bell. It lets me know that you folks are watching, and it helps the channel grow. All right. So, what's going on in the world today? Is there enough information out there? Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Or is there maybe just too much gall darn information? Let me do it for you. I'm doing it each and every day, Monday through Friday, here on the morning show. We're going to have your all list, your movers and the shakers here today. We're going to cover that here before you guys head off to work. And no matter where you are, thanks for dragging Brody along for the ride, whether you got me in your back pocket, sitting on the dash of the car, maybe next to the coffee pot, wherever you are, dragging Brody along for the ride here. Safe adventures. Maybe may the sun be at your face and the wind at your back. Let's have an awesome day today. It's Friday. It's Yabba Dabba Doo Day, just like Fred Flintstone. We're getting set to slide down that dinosaur tail, but we've got some very interesting news to get to before anything else. Now, here's the topic of discussion for today. The maximum debt ceiling level in the the great US of A, is roughly $31 trillion. Right now, and this is all, here's the show where we're going to tie it all together. We're going to talk stocks. We're going to talk the price of Hasbro. We're going to talk forced rotation. We're going to talk banks. We're going to talk a little bit about all those things, and we're going to tie it all back together. Revised duels back on the rise. Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about the banking world. We're going to talk about the national debt ceiling level when it comes to the United States and Canada and what's going on in the banking world. We're going to talk Hasbro's earnings report. All the earnings reports came out yesterday from the Wall Street and friends, all the Wall Street stockbroker agents. This is the first quarter earnings report that will be come out yesterday. So we got a little bit more information on that. Surprise, surprise, Hasbro has ticked up just a little bit, showing 1 penny per share in earnings. So turned a little bit of a profit, and we're going to look at why that is, and how strange it is that currently, while on the one hand, we're in a situation where the country as a whole needs, or the nations as a whole need to borrow more money because the national debt ceiling level has been reached. And if that doesn't get sorted out really darn fast, there could be a serious recession ahead of us, with more banks possibly going the way of Silicon Valley Bank, another bank that folded earlier this year, and Credit Suisse, another bank that had to close its operations down. So on the one hand, we've got the national debt level needing to be raised, and that works out to a cool $95,000 per person if you were to shake each and everybody down and say, it's time to settle the score. It's time to pay your debts. All right. So how does this all work? How does this happen when you've got Hasbro posting some profits this year, making a record $200 million off of Modern Horizons 2, one of the best-selling set in Magic the Gathering history? And what does that all mean when it comes to the scene of Magic cards? Well, we're going to talk about it for you. We are, and we're going to bring it up here. So what's in the bill, in this piece of legislation, and the federal limit spending? Well, the bill would set federal discretionary spending to 1.47 trillion. Now we hear this word discretionary. Basically, they're trying to put a cap on big ticket spending in the United States, because it's there's a lot of money being thrown around real haphazardly, and let's just face it, there is no such thing as government funded policy. It's all taxpayer funded. So if it means just little old working man, like for the working man like myself, Magic card players included, we're the ones who end up footing the bill for all this. So here we have a situation. Now I'm talking about world economy and how that sits with affecting the banks, because earlier, if you've been following the show, we were talking about swap lines and what that means. Earlier, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about swap lines and the ability for the biggest United States banks to send money to other banks in and around the world and use these swap lines with swap line friendly nations. So we're in a situation where I'm up in Canada, and our banking system is in also very closely tied to our brethren in the Southern Hemisphere. So let's just take a look at a little bit of banking news and world economics, and then we're going to boil it down just a little bit more to the Hasbro stock market and the earnings report that we heard from Hasbro. So let's take a look at some headlines, but maybe we want to warm up just a little bit with some AI generated magic cards here this morning. Anybody want to? Anybody want to do that? I think we can. I think we shall. Right? Let's check it out. All right. Let's head on over to the Twitter bots here. If anyone's new to the channel, let's just make sure everything's working just right. We're going to take a look at some AI generated magic cards. I know your time is valuable and you don't have time to waste. So let's get into this card right here. If the card is playable, reasonable whatsoever, if it's a decent card, you're going to hear this sound, the sound of the dinger. And if the card's, even if, if it's reasonable, even if it's a little overcosted, but if we hear the card's got any gibberish on it whatsoever, we're going to fail it. You'll hear this sound. Let's bring up the buzzing, cousin. One more for good measure. All right, that's how it's going to roll, all right? If it's any gibberish on the card whatsoever, we fail it. If it's a decent card, we're going to give it a dinger. Let's warm up this morning. We got some viewers in the chat. I'm happy to be here. Let's get ready to do this. Let's run this list. First card up to take a look with. Here, all right, what do we got here? Ferocious Infestation. 5-mana sorcery. Discard your hand, then draw 3 cards, then discard 3 cards at random. Let's give this a buzzer. This seems terrible. I'm gonna have a little sip of coffee and let's check this out. Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine how this is so terrible. Basically, 5 mana, discard your hand. If I wanted to discard my hand, I would play the 1 mana black spell that lets me discard my hand. Not this one. Fair unplayable. Fair OP unplayable world salad. It's unplayable, unforgettable. That's what you are. It's so unplayable. All right, Zurzo, the side wing sliver. Sliver? It is a sliver. Zero the side wing sliver. Human droid. Oh, it's not looking good already. 0. This card's rating a 0 on our scale of AI generated magic cards. It really is. Let's grow. Let's grow the bro show. Anger Collections is in the house. My favorite brother from another mother. Thanks for joining us here, Anger. Check out this card with us. Legendary creature, human druid. Okay, it's a sidewing sliver, so already it's not got a lot going for it, Anger. You guys are looking at buying singles, head on over to Anger's TCG player account site. He's got some awesome deals going on over there. Lots of inventory. He's got everything you need. He's got it. I don't shop on TCG player, but if I did, I would do it at Anger Collections just because there's a lot of shenanigans going over there and you want to buy from somebody reputable. That's where I would go. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin until you lose. What? At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin until you lose an additional coin of the monarch. I got finger hovering over the buzzer this morning. Finger on the buzzing, cousin. Let's check it out. At the beginning of your end step, if you cast this spell during your turn, create a 1/1 red cat horse. token creature with protection from green. This able attacking creature and that creature and this creature and that creature can't be regenerated. You're out of here. You're fired. Zurzo, Sidewing. It should be that easy. Somebody sucks. I don't know. Refusing to try, like this AI, I don't know, won't get out of bed, doesn't show up on time. Zurzo, the Sidewing, calls himself a sliver, is a human druid. This thing is bad. Badder than bad. It's better than bad. It's good. No, it's totally bad. Any Ren and Stimpy fans in the house? Fair unplayable word salad. Let's get some word salad. Word Caesar word salad avec croutons. Just so you folks know, Brody is going to be starting a new segment. I'm going to put that out there. We're starting a new segment, and I got some interesting MTG comedy stuff on deck for you. I'm writing some scripts. I got some good stuff in the works. So this weekend, I should be bringing you folks another Morning Magic the Gathering. I hope to be bringing you folks another Morning Magic cartoons with Brody. It should be fun. And I've got another special comedy coming up for you folks. I'm really excited to put this one together for you. Cat Horse, protection from green, 1/1. This thing, protection from green, if you know what I mean. This thing's on the scene. It's fine. No, it's not Alec. It's even better. It's even better. I have 2 more scripts on Alec we got to run, but I like this Cat Horse. Look at it. It's literally a cat part horse. A course, Cat Horse. I do have 2 more Alec videos to shoot. But this one is more newsworthy. Let's check out the stink weaponry. All right, let's see the stink weaponry. I have high hopes with this card. Look at the stink on that one. So far, let's see. I got myself a human. It's a human cleric. 1/3/4. A 3/4 for a blue and 1? That seems really good. Pay 1 white and 1, tap it, return target creature to its owner's hand. Return 1 white and 1, target creature to its owner. This thing's super powerful. This thing's good. You get a 3/4 body for 2 mana, 1 blue and 1 colorless. The stink weaponry, this thing's overpowered. Let's go fair, unplayable, word salad, overpowered. Super powerful, a 3/4. So this reminds me of like what we're going to talk about today, forced rotation. If you guys haven't heard about it, forced rotation. That's a term that's been thrown around from time and time again. Let's put it in the comment section. Have you heard of forced rotation? Yes or no? Let's ask. Oh, come on. All right. Have you folks heard of I'm okay. I'm doing good, Astrid Media. Thanks for joining. Have you heard? Question for you, Astrid Media. Have you heard of forced rotation? Do you know what that is? Be up in the. This question's for you, Astrid Media. Thanks, brother. Let's get into it. Let's get on to some stink weaponry. Ooh, look at this mountain. Wow. Look at the color on this here. Mountain, basic land, taps for a red, really blue sunscape, and some nice mountains. Usually the lands don't let me down. All right, how about this one? Keldon Batlix. 4/6 death touch for 5 and a red. The lizard. When it dies, create a food token. Hey, that seems fine, right? This thing doesn't seem bad. 6 mana for a 4/6 death touch. When it dies, it gets a food token. I think this would be just like a bomb power uncommon. Or a common. Common. Gotta get to work. Have a great Friday. Oh, Tom, we're gonna do the movers and the shakers list here. I should have done it for you. Let's take a look at this swamp. Seems fine. Tom, have a good day, buddy. Happy Friday. Enjoy. We'll talk to you real soon. I hope you catch us on the replay. Thanks. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out the door. Got an AI generated swamp. Very green. Look at the landscape on this one. This is very blue and it taps for red. I like what they're doing with the color palette, mixing it up. This very opaque kind of a green color. It looks like a forest, right? You'd think it should be a forest. Totally. It looks like but the water here. The water. And then this one, Insanity, the Spirit Mantle, 3-mana legendary artifact at the beginning of your upkeep, where X is the number of equipments you control. If a card is put in the graveyard from anywhere, you lose the game. What? You gotta. That's preposterous.
Buy low, sell high, that's my motto. I may just quit my job at the power plant and become a full-time stock market guy.
All right, reminding you, Brody, this is your movers and the shakers here this morning. Let's get on to it. No. Let's go with a little bit of headlines here this morning, okay? So the house with our friends in the South, the House and our friends in the South are deciding to put a cap on spending wherever they can in order to also raise the national debt limit from $30 trillion. They want to bump it up so that the nation, the most powerful nation in the world, does not default on a lot of its debt. Now, if we're talking about things here in Canada, how does that affect us? Well, it affects us quite a lot. We share the largest unprotected border in the world with the United States. Our banking system, including the Toronto Dominion Bank, is very, very heavily tied to the United States banking system. So if things start to dwindle in the banking world and there's any more collapse like what happened with Silicon Valley Bank, we could be headed nose deep for some problems here in the world. Shares in First Republic Bank tank after the lender says customers withdrew $100 billion in deposits. Holy smoke, there's bank runs happening on in the world today. So not only the shares of their U.S. regional bank, First Republic, falling another 15% on Wednesday, a day after plummeting to an all-time low, after the mid-sized lender revealed that customers withdrew $100 billion U.S. worth of deposits in the first quarter. Shares of the California-based bank were changing hands for less than $7 when they used to change hands for upwards of $100 in the start of March. That's down from $16 on Monday and $120 from March, before the U.S. banking sector was gripped by contagion fears and fallouts of the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. This is the second domino to tumble. That and Credit Suisse. So right now, there's a lot of discussion. You're going to hear it, and you're going to hear it about raising the national debt level, and that national debt level works out to $95,000 per man, woman, and child. So the bank's earnings on Monday revealed that the lender made $269 million in profit. It's a significant challenge is ahead. And look at this chart. You know Brody loves to look at this chart, okay? You know how Brody loves to put lines on charts. But this is First Republic Bank's share price since last year. Check this out. So more turmoil in the banking world. I think it's quite obvious that we're not out of the woods yet. It could be towards the end of the year before this all shakes out and we see. But like, if this was a magic card, if this was like a price, Johan Matuzzi, all good? Yeah, I'm back. I'm all good. Everything, got a clean bill of health. I'm okay. Everything's good. Back on the scene, if you know what I mean. If this was a magic card, if this was like the hotness if this was Ragavan, there would be blood in the water. Boom. Right? I'm telling you, this is the First Republic Bank share price since this time last year. So, like, I'm sharing you folks a little bit of my opinions and what I see in the world. Do your own research, take a look for yourself, but I like bringing some opinions on. Now my opinion on this. What does this mean? Let's tie this all together because uh we're talking about the should we be worried about the should we be worried if the debt ceiling isn't lifted and there's more banks having runs on them? Okay, so what does that all mean? Because all the while that the debt ceiling is in the news and causing for concern, the debt ceiling binds the U.S. Treasury and it does not have the ability to pay its obligations. The negative economic effects would quickly mount the risk of deep recession. The debt limit caps the total of allowable outstanding U.S. federal debt. The limit has been hit. They've maxed out the credit card. You can't give away any more money without getting a larger credit card. Has this happened to you? Is this happening to you right now? Is your credit card maxed out? Is there any more room on it? Is that you just have to stop spending? Or do you just keep buying magic cards? Christopher Nelson, hold on a second. I want to say good morning. Let's give a special shout out to Christopher Nelson. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. I appreciate you. This show is for you. And with the folks watching, please give Christopher a warm welcome here to the channel. Say thanks, say hi, and I appreciate you for joining the conversation with us here on Friday. We're like the 300, like the Spartans. Like you've seen the movie, The Spartans, the 300. We're like at the 301 mark. We're just pushing us over, sharpening our spears like Captain Ahab, getting ready to harpoon some deals in the world of Magic the Gathering. We are sharpening those spears, getting the dry powder ready, as they say, waiting and watching to see what is going on in the world. And this is the show where we tie it all together. This show is for you, Christopher. Thank you very much. Appreciate you for joining. Let's welcome Christopher to the channel here, each and everybody. So what does that mean when the daddy's got to cut up the credit card? The debt limit caps the total amount of allowable spending, U.S. federal debt, and that debt hit 31 trillion in January 2023. But the Department of Treasury has been undertaking a set of extraordinary measures so that the debt limit does not yet bind. That those measures will be sufficient through the at least early June and sometime after that, unless Congress raises and suspends the debt ceiling limit, the federal government will lack the cash to pay its debt obligations, and those obligations will result of laws previously enacted. So we're not going to get into like partisan issues or anything like that, but here's what we want to talk about, because all the earnings reports come out on the 27th, yesterday, including Hasbro's earnings report, right? So we're going to talk about this. Hasbro's quarterly reveals a shocking $200 million Magic the Gathering product. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to talk about forced rotation and what that means and how they got there. So how is it that on the one hand, the entire country and the whole nation as a whole can't borrow enough money because it keeps giving it away, but yet people are still, you know what this tells me? This tells me that there's a lot of fools out there dumping money into Magic cards, and they probably shouldn't be, because they're not looking at the bigger picture here. That's just my opinion. Because all the while, these bank earnings reports are coming out at the same time as the stock market earnings report on every single quarter, which happened yesterday, April 27th. We're seeing Hasbro actually reporting a pretty not a great quarter, but actually they were, in the black. They were on the profit side of things, 1 cent per share. So how is a company like Hasbro able to turn itself effectively into a vacuum cleaner and just suck up all this money, while on the other hand, it seems like the entire world is bleeding into a giant bucket and is about to go into cardiac arrest? Hasbro quarterly reveals the shocking $200 million product. The chief executive, Chris Cox, opened the Hasbro quarterly call yesterday morning, stating that Magic the Gathering product overall was up 16% year over year, despite the company being down over year Last year, Hasbro's first billion-dollar brand's continual increase should not be a shocking statement for the massive MTG community. What MTG players may find shocking is that the two Magic the Gathering products have hit record numbers in sales this quarter. One of these is the best-selling Commander product in Magic the Gathering history, but products further ahead than that. There's one. There is one product that's further ahead than the best-selling Commander product in history. That is this one. Raking in $200 million in profits alone, forced rotation may be a big part of this product's success. All right, if you've never heard of forced rotation, and we've got a poll up, I want to get to know you folks. How much do you know about? No. 86% of the people voting say they have not heard of forced rotation. So we used to call it power creep. That's what we call it. So what happens in the world of Magic when more powerful cards start getting printed into sets, like Ragavans, Elementals, Omnas, cards that upseat the current modern metagame, the largest metagame. So they print new cards in new sets, primarily Modern Horizons 2. We're talking about Ragavan, we're talking about Urza's Saga, we're talking about Omnath, we're talking about the Elementals, the Fury, and the Solitude. Any of those cards, when we head over to top 8, let's just go over to MTG top 8, including Murktide. So let's go to the Modern metagame because Modern is the largest. We've got Murktide decks making extremely large percent of the meta. 13% of the meta is Murktide decks. And Murktide's found in Modern Horizons 2. So if you're not playing Murktide, you're lumped in with the rest of the plebs who can't, who are building old style Modern decks that are no longer competitive. So the Murktide deck is running. Let's see what we got in the blue-red aggro. Yeah, Murktide. Look at all the Murktide decks, right? Hence the reason for the Murktide thumbnail at the top of the page. But Murktide is a card from Modern Horizons 2, just completely dominating the metagame. So what that means with forced rotation is that if you're not playing the hottest Magic the Gathering cards that Wizards is printing into the new sets, because they are so much more powerful than the ones that were dominating the metagame before, it forces an entire rotation within the metagame, and where players must buy the new products and the new cards in order to stay competitive. Otherwise, they're going to be left in the dust. So this is one. So this is one means that Wizards of the Coast would do it, and it happens slowly with this set and that set and another set. I'm not buying the fear. I only practice using a max of 30% of my limit for each card. Ah, that's a good tip. Let's see here. Don't buy into the fear. No, we're not. I'm not. Do I look scared? I don't look scared. No credit on the song, but had fun with gifts. Finishing my short remixing. Oh, DJ Longhair's here. Good morning, all. Nice to have you here. So forced rotation, that's what that means. If you guys haven't heard of it before, you've heard of it now. It means that Wizards of the Coast is putting, Johan Matuzzi's here as well. It means that Wizards of the Coast is putting more powerful cards into each and every set that makes you forced to buy them. And despite Commander being the largest set in terms of popularity, the most successful Magic set of all time goes to a direct-to-modern release of Modern Horizons 2. And this is what I'm talking about. Released in 2021, it's the most successful set in Magic history, according to Hasbro's first quarter results. Report available on their site. Modern Horizons 2 has hit the $200 million mark. They sold a lot of that product. Why is Modern Horizons 2 continuing to generate incredible profits year over year while it's driving players to continually buy this product? While there's no official statements that have been made, the answer is likely a lot to do with the contents available in the set and how it ends up actually creating something pretty controversial in competitive Magic the Gathering community: forced rotation. So to be clear, Modern's not a rotating set, but the only naturally rotating sets in Magic are ones like Standard, which is legal which its legal card pool change is every year. This is both to keep the format fresh and to make sure that Magic cards can find a home for some meaningful play. In contrast, forced rotation forces players to buy into cards and the ever-changing metagame, and anything related to that comes into the formats like Modern or Commander. This new injection of cards pushes out older strategies and demands players play with new cards if they want to keep up with the competitive nature of the format. Modern Horizons 2 is commonly part of the forced rotation conversation against modern Magic the Gathering players. Forced rotation demonstrated, including cards like Murktide, as well as the Urza Saga, and any of these cards that you must have in order to breed success into your Magic the Gathering collection. So pretty interesting for players that play at the top tier strategy level, that are available in the modern metagame or even in Legacy, Vintage, and Commander metagames. You'll need some of these rarer cards that are only available in Modern Horizons 2, and the increase in demand from the players will in turn increase the card's secondary market value, making the Modern Horizons 2 set more valuable, appealing them to opening and cracking packs by players. Players who want to get these cards that are powerful are all too happy to purchase and open Modern Horizons 2. So that's what we're dealing with. That's how they do it. That's how they did it. But I find it funny because the set was released in 2021, but I guess it's finally now out of print. And I don't know how that gets reported on their first quarter earnings report coming into the future, but I guess they've closed it and said, okay, this is we're squeaking out profitability. Interesting, n'est-ce pas? So that's what we're looking at here in the world of Magic the Gathering with regards to Hasbro. I got a couple of more headlines for you folks. But before we do that, we are going to talk finance just a little bit here. These are your movers and the shakers. Let's get into some movers and the shakers. It's Friday. Let's take a look at the recap for everything here that's happening in the world of Magic the Gathering. Let's take a look. All right, these are your movers and the shakers for April 28th, folks. I'm Brody Alfonso. Let's check it out. For the week, cards topping the list. You getting ready to move and shake in your seat? Let's check it out. Helm of Chatsuk. I don't know what this alpha card is doing at the top of the list, but what I'm trying to tell you folks is that we're going to be waiting, and I've been saying this for a little while now. We did see a high-end sale over at one of the major Canadian vendors. We did see, but it wasn't the one we were hoping for. If this economy gets any worse, stores are going to have to be forced to open their showcase at bargain basement prices on some of these alpha, beta, and unlimited cards. So we're going to see some prices and some sales on some high-end singles, likely near the end of November, perhaps towards the end of December, coming into Christmas time, when stores are going to be forced to liquidate high-end assets in order to pay rent. If products don't keep moving, with the spoilers and the leaks that have happened with the March of the Machine Aftermath set, this could maybe not bode well for Wizards going into the second quarter of this year. I don't know how much I'm buying it. This could be propped up, but let's check it out. Helm of Chatsuk. What is up with this alpha card? This seems bizarre. $64,000. This seems wrong. This seems incredulous. It looks fake. It looks like a fugazi. There's no way this is real. 64,000 for the Helm of Chatsuk? No. I'd say this has got to be some price disparity on this one. Even Michael Superbacker and I can probably agree that this card is not worth this kind of money. There's got to be some disparity here somewhere in the market. Let's try and find it. Why is this card making its way up the movers and the shakers list here this morning. I'll tell you what, I've been slowly picking up alpha cards, like ones that I can find. Okay, so you saw the Lord of the Pit video that we brought to you. That's actually the current morning cartoons with Brody. I picked up, I did order one card from Face to Face for the last high-end sale that they had. It was a really good deal. I'm still waiting for that to arrive, but I'm like slowly cherry picking the alpha cards that I see on a good price. And some of these alphas are going to end up being cheaper. And long term, I think that's where you want to be putting some of your investment money if you're holding on to it, or some of your fun money. I'm picking up very selectively, picking up some of these alpha cards, alpha commons, uncommons, and if I can find an alpha rare for a really good price, I'll probably pick that up too. I don't want to be distracted with all the other junk that's new and new printed. I want to like hold out for like the high-end sale on the rarities, the good stuff, the stuff that people like. If you go back and you look at Brody's, is the Magic the Gathering market about to boom? Yes, it is about to boom, but is it going to leave some people with absolutely nothing? Absolutely. There's a lot of pressure in the market, and people like chasing and bandwagoning and not bandwagoning new sets, getting caught up in the hype. I'm not buying into the hype. This has got to be a mistake. Yes. See, it's culprits like this over at TCG Player. You know, if you want to buy cards on TCG Player, head on over to Anger Collections, because that's a reputable seller, my opinion. But like, look at this pricing disparity here. I find it quite odd that somebody over here, TCG Player seems to be the constant culprit for market manipulation and price manipulation. You've got Card Market Express listing a copy here for $99,000, and then Flights of Fantasy listing one for $29,000. I don't know what they're thinking here. Maybe it was supposed to be $99 or $290, but this type of behavior is what really skews the Magic market, and it never goes away. So we've got Helm of Chatsuk with a false indication at the top of the movers and the shakers list today. So if you follow this movers and the shakers list, and I invite you to look at it for yourself, but if you don't like tracking the prices of Magic cards, let me do it for you, because we're going to investigate a little bit further here and make sure this can actually is not like a screen door on a submarine where it doesn't hold any water. Gauntlet of Might, $1,322.39. That seems like a fair price. It does. But can we do better than that? I think so. I think we look at this. Brody just wants to draw lines on charts. So let's see I see some softening. I see some flaccid maneuvers in the market here, right? So this card was coming along at around the couple $100 mark. Took a tip up in price around Ixalan. Another poke up in price around Ravnica. It's been softening and settling, and now it hit about Kaldheim. It hit the $1,000 mark and went north of that, and now it's starting to tabletop like a plateau and drift sideways. I think we're going to see, like, let's just take a look here at these two, at this distance here. Like past, this is another stock market term. People say past indicators are not a depiction of future performance. So people always give you that disclaimer. But look at this distance from here to here. Like, it's almost looks like it's going to be time to see, like, you would think right now would be the time where you would see another leg up in price. But like, let's go back, because I want to look at this here. Let's go periods to make money. This is Brody's favorite chart, right? This one, right? We're in the dumpster right now. This is like, we're at year 2023. This is like a low market time right here. So like, when you look at this low market time, we're in 2023 right now. So this is a period of hard times. So we're not like out of this yet. We're going to see more decreases in prices. I would wait for this to go a little bit lower. Tom Mitchell says he's going to try to pick up Force Field. Force Field, Gauntlet of Might, any of those articles would seem to be like, how is Haunting Wind doing? Picked up one last night. Oh, let's check out Haunting Wind and let's check out Force Field for Tom Mitchell. Force Field, I know Tom's off to work, but Force Field. The unlimited version. Let's have a sip of coffee. This one, $482 for the field of the forest of the field. Can you feel it? Can you feel the force field? Haunting Wind. Good art on the Haunting Wind. And I'll tell you, I saw something on Twitter there the other day. Quite interesting, and I got to give it to you, Benson, because you called it. I guess Kinsbill Cavalier is now the most expensive card in Morningtide. It is. It is the most expensive card. Kinsbill. And you called it Morningtide. Let's go with the foil. Let's see what the foil is and the multiplier. $79. Right? Look at the friggin' head on this one. Look at the tomato on this big melon card. Pick up in price. Benson, you called it. You said it. I think you even underestimated how high this card was going to go, because the foil here is now worth a pile. Let's just look at the chart here. Brody just wants to put lines on charts. Look at this. It goes all the way around the $20 mark for the foil. This is a 300% increase for the foil version. So we're sitting at a whopping $79. That's probably going to soften. Probably going to come down. But nevertheless, I got to say, when somebody's right, I call it out. You're right. This card's sold out everywhere. People selling it on eBay, $50, $70. Looks like right now there's people selling copies of it on TCG Player for a couple of dollars. But Morningtide Kinsbill Cavalier seems to be the most expensive card in the set right now for the foil version. What else we got on the list? Wall of Bone and Blaze of Glory. I think this is on the reserve list, and it is. Here's a reserve list card from Beta. It's a rare. This card's like $652 is what this is coming in at. $652. Cast a spell during combat before blockers are declared. Target creature defending player controls can block any number of creatures this turn. Target creature defending players controls can block any number of creatures this turn. So if somebody's attacking you, you're the defending player. Cast it during combat before blockers are declared. So you all of a sudden you've got a creature that can block any number of creatures. It can only deal damage, as much as its power. But this is an interesting card. Let's see if there's any decks using it. Gisha, Sun's Avatar in Commander. So there's actually a card, an archetype playing it. Let's see here. Blaze of Glory. I don't see it. Nope. They lie. Not even on the deck list. Sold out in stores, $350. What do they say? 652? It's sold out to the vendors. eBay is pushing it up. eBay is actually where it's up. There's a BGS 9. Okay, so this card's not $600. There's a BGS, there's a graded copy here. So if you're going to be picking up like some of the old stuff, you want to grab like the graded stuff. You're going to pay a graded premium for it. If you're just wanting to play it, this card is actually, worth a lot less than what they're showing here. $652. That's being pushed up by a BGS 9 copy here on eBay that's being listed currently at the moment. What else we got here? We got Wall of Bone. This is the summon wall that has regenerate. This is a pretty decent wall. It's uncommon. This is the alpha card, $250. Shout out to Mike the Alpha Hoarder. Let's take a look at the chart here on this one. Let's roll it back a little bit. Yeah, this one sort of seems to see a little bit of stock market movement. Not a bad card. Not fantastic. There's better walls out there. The plant wall is actually just a little bit better, I would say. because it counts as a plant, the Wall of Brambles. But this one regenerates, so if it gets dealt lethal damage, you can save it from being killed. $87 from the vendors. $299 for a graded copy. So right now, a lot of graded stuff hitting, a lot of slab stuff hitting the market, and I'll keep you posted because this is what people do with slab cards. People will try and rotate their slab cards, like their BGS 8.5 here, to get money in order to buy a better graded copy. Did everybody Morningtide and Lorwyn release during this 06 and 08 recession era? Not a lot of it out there. So keep that could be a pattern. It could. If we see a good set released, and if we see a recession later this year because the big kids just can't control their spending, and you know that this is the part that makes me kind of think about it, because it's your money. It's your money, it's my money that all these policymakers are spending. And then you've got companies like Hasbro using forced rotation just to suck up people's cash, right? So be careful right now. Hold on. Cash is king. Don't kid yourself. Goods, and more than cash being king, like being liquid, being cash flow positive is more important now than ever, because the country that we live in isn't even cash flow positive. They're all cash flow negative. In fact, they are so cash flow negative, they look and they say, hey, I think we want you to sell your Magic cards and give us some cash, right? So be patient. There could be some tasty deals out there. And with the products that are going to be barraging at us from Wizards of the Coast this year, we could be launching us into a little bit of a recession later the year, which could spell for some pretty tasty deals on some Magic singles. Mind Twist, this card's actually playable. Okay, let's see. It's legal in Vintage, but it's banned in Legacy. It's legal in Commander. This Mind Twist is a black and X. Target player discards X cards at random. So back in the day when there was a viable discard deck, or even the 8-rack deck, there's even a 12-rack deck now. Mind Twist is sort of a card that plays in that deck. You've got your Hymn to Torax, your Hypnotic Specters, your Specters that make players discard. I need a co-host, right? I hear Donnie Lemon and Tucker Carlson need a job. That's right. We don't pay much. I'll pay them in cardboard. They get a 7-minute time slot here on the Brody Alfonso Morning Show. Let's check it out. Torak Dead Cantor is playing it. So this card is getting some play with Shoulder the Apocalypse, Crocs the Dighton of Death's Hunger, Erebos the Bleak-Hearted, and a few others. Shark the Thumbless, Urtai Wordwing Familiar, and Tigrid the God of Fright. All decks playing this card, Mind Twist, to discard your opponent's hand. The 8-rack deck is another. The Rack is another deck that plays Mind Twist. So the Rack was an artifact going back all the way to the early days of Magic. So here's a card that will always have some play value in the older sets. The revised version is only $1.55. Where's the alpha beta? Was the Rack not printed in alpha beta? Yeah, it was. They don't have it here. It was printed in Antiquities. That's why. Never mind. It wasn't printed in alpha beta. It was printed in Antiquities. Here's an uncommon, $20 for the Rack. As it enters the battlefield, choose an opponent. At the beginning of that player's upkeep, the Rack deals X damage to that player, where X is 3, minus the number of cards in their hand. So if they've got, I like the way they did it on the original one. If the opponent has fewer than 3 cards in hand, it does 1 damage to the opponent for each card fewer than 3. So if you can get rid of your opponent's hand, the Rack is going to squeeze them each and every time. And then there's a few other decks using 8-rack. Let's see. This deck plays it. Nether Spirit, one of those. It's a card that comes back. Ashiok, Davriel, Lily of the Veil. The new 8-rack build, hey? Shrieking Affliction. This is the one. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has 1 or fewer cards in hand, he or she loses 3 life. So you got the Shrieking Affliction and the rack. And there's even a possibility of a 12 rack coming up, but the legacy or the older version of this, where the Mind Twist card is actually legal. You can play a discard deck with Mind Twist in it. Maybe not so good in Commander, but it's definitely legal in Vintage. Banned in Legacy. The 8 rack, the card. Wall of Bone, Mind Twist, Orcish Oriflamme. This was an interesting card. This one is an enchantment for a red and 1. All your attacking creatures gain +1/0. This is the alpha version. A lot of alpha cards making their way on the movers and the shakers. Some sales in the alpha cards. Trading in the alpha markets. Nespa. All right. Let's check it out. Move the chart back on this one. Brody just wants to draw some lines on charts. Ooh, look at the chart on this one. I think like we could possibly be seeing like the bull run. Like it's funny, the Rudy video has gained me so many new thought-provoking comments and subscribers and people who have great opinions. And this is my show, my channel, where I can share my opinion with you folks, and you can share your opinions too. Some of the folks who were making comments on the Rudy video, one of the better comments that I really enjoyed reading because it was thought-provoking and it really made me read the comment a couple of times, was that something to the effect that if you thought reserve list cards were going to keep going up forever, then you must have been wrong. Right around here, 2020 and 2019, a softening, but like you can definitely see all of a sudden we've since 2021, this beta card or this alpha card, original Magic card, has seen like a huge uptick in price. Something even more than it's ever seen as far as a percentage increase in the past. So all of a sudden, this could be like an indication that maybe this stuff has hit the ceiling. Maybe this is like the ceiling level for some of this stuff, and it's time for a price correction for some of these cards like Orcish Oriflamme to come back down. Let's see how many we got for sale, because like how high can these keep on going, right? Without it being Brodyclad, the Telcor engineer. Let's look at Brodyclad. I like it. Brodyclad. All creatures you control have haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 2/1 blue Phyrexian mirror into play. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. Brodyclad. The Brodyclad deck. What a cool deck. This gives your attacking creatures 1/0, so those mirrors become 3/1s. Pretty decent if you can give them fear, trample, first strike, double strike, any of the evasion, tactics, flying, whatever. Seems fine. They also get haste. Orcish Oriflamme, a good card from Alpha Beta, one of the original enchantments. 2 mana to give all attack, an anthem that gives all attacking creatures 1/0. Pretty strong card. It was printed in revised. So like revised is a 30-cent card, right? The beta version, $24. But like it's a rare, or it's an uncommon rather, and it commands $1,000 price tag. Let's see. The vendors were selling it for up to 500. It's got to be, yeah, there's somebody's got it on eBay right now. Orcish Oriflamme times 4. So this must be a playset. And then these folks over at TCG Players, so there's 4 of them. There's a playset for 1,460, and then there's like this guy here, Digital Heroes, who's selling it for $1,250. So this is like people. There is desperate sellers out there. They're like, come on, I need $1,200 for this. Not gonna get it. Not from me. Some of these movers and the shakers are just like, it's completely bananas. Guardian Beast. This is a target for me. This is a card I really want to get. It's $1,047. It's probably worth every penny. I want to see if I can get a better deal on it. I've been putting a buy list box together, and you can too, because when the super high-end sale happens towards the end of November or later this year, if things get a little worse, like it's appearing that they will, we're not out of the woods yet. There's probably going to be some deals to be had, so I'd like to have my store credit sitting there waiting to spend. Welcome, Christopher. Dr. Timmy, I missed that news. Let's see. Wow, how did Hasbro stock go up $8 overnight? All right, let's take it. Okay, so Hasbro stock. You want to talk about the price of Hasbro stock? Let's do it. Hasbro and Mattel shares rise as toy makers announce another multi-year licensing agreement and intellectual property. So they have made a deal with Mattel in order to license their products to do a brand combination to make a Monopoly Barbie edition, as well as making some Matchbox Transformer cards. So they've made a deal there. The toy maker stocks rallied on Thursday after rivals Hasbro and Mattel posted quarterly results and offered optimistic comments about how their intellectual property will boost their business. Hasbro shares spiked 13% on Thursday after the toy maker reported the first quarter revenue that topped Wall Street's expectations. The Monopoly board game maker posted net revenue of $1 billion, beating the $878 million projected based on an average of analysis. Estimates compiled by Refinitiv. The revenue declined 14% from $1.6 billion during the year earlier, but the toy maker posted a first quarter loss of 22 million and 16 cents per share compared to net earnings of 61 million and 44 cents a share last year. First quarter results came in ahead of our expectations and a position that Hasbro to meet a full year financial targets. Hasbro CEO Chris Cox said in a statement, other toy stocks, including Hasbro competitor Mattel and pop culture consumer company Funko, also jumped on Thursday. Funko is prepared. Okay, so they're this is like it's a shell game. It's like they're like I don't understand how on the one hand like the nation can be going in complete debt and record spending and record debt leveraging and borrowing money and just throwing it away on all kinds of policies, and there's like softening in wages and everything's costing more, but at the same time they're using forced rotation to force players to buy their new products, because if you don't buy the new cards, you can't stay competitive in Magic the Gathering. And there's still a lot of people who chase the dream of playing competitively and hitting up tournaments and trying to grind, right? There's actually like a lot of people that do that. But this is this is the part of it that I think it's hilarious, because if you go on Twitter, you will actually see people crowdfunding and complaining and asking for handouts so that they can make it to the next Magic the Gathering event. I saw some, you know what grinds my Gear gears? The the folks on Twitter, the Gear gear grinder, who says, I lost my job. I can't find a job. I'm waiting for an interview. I lost, but can somebody please send me money so I can make it to the next Magic the Gathering event? So you folks out there who are working, the working man for, I'm Brody Alfonso. I'm the working man for the working man. Keep going out there and keep doing your part, because you will come out on top. Okay. Even though this is a complete bunch of nonsense that's happening right now, it's all gonna come home to roost in the wintertime. Okay. This summer, I mean, summertime is nice. There's going to be a lot of marketing going on. There's companies are already starting to market products, seasonal products. Try to take a slowdown and a break back, like the holidays. I love holidays, but what I don't like about the holidays is when I walk into the store and like no sooner are the Thanksgiving treats coming down, or the Easter eggs and stuff coming down, they're putting up the St. Patty's Day stuff, or the Thanksgiving stuff's coming down, then the Halloween stuff goes up. And then as soon as it's the day after Halloween stuff, all the Christmas stuff goes up. It's this nonstop consumerism. And the people that are out there begging for money on Twitter to try and get funds to go to Magic events in Philadelphia because they can't find a job, or they refuse to find a job, and they still seem to think that they need to go play Magic and borrow money and have people pay them to do it. And perhaps they think that that's like actually a job, but it really isn't. Once this all settles out, like the other shoe is going to drop, and there's going to be like some problems down the line. Like this is not sustainable. We all know that. what happens when people don't get jobs and actually contribute to society, and they just sit on the internet and they flash their, Brody's just flashing his nice haircut that he just got, ooh, look at my hair. If I want to charge $5 for a hat lift, that's not really a job. It doesn't do anything in the world. It doesn't put anybody to work. It doesn't make the world a better place. It doesn't contribute any real property. Okay, so when it comes to real property, that is not anything. It's fugazi. It's smoke and mirrors. It's fairy dust. So if you want to get the fun in your Magic collection, get those cardboard game pieces. Like, now is the time to just be like keeping the powder dry and getting ready for some deals, because this isn't getting better. Even though Hasbro is boosting, oh yes, record profits, we're making all kinds of money, $200 million. That is nothing compared to when you look at the national debt level of $30 trillion, which means each man, woman, and child out there has got a price sticker on their head and saying, if the government wanted to come in and say, hey, we got to settle our debt, that works out to $95,000 per man, woman, and children living in the nation, that would have to pony up that. And do they have it? No, they don't have it, because they're still begging for money to go to Magic the Gathering events. They probably owe money on their taxes too. So, like, try to settle those things first before you catch into the hype. This is not a good look. I mean, oh, record profits. Like, I think it's funny. You've got a whole nation in struggles on the one hand. Like, I mean, up here in Canada, we're not any better. We've got Toronto Dominion Bank. People are pulling their money out and max. There's runs on banks happening. People are pulling their money out because they don't want to keep it in the bank, because they think the banks are going to collapse. But then on the other hand, you got earnings reports that have to come out every month, and Hasbro is creating record profits because they've still got people asleep that are still chasing tournaments and buying new products, because they think that, everything's just fine. But at the end of the day, the money has to come from somewhere. So we'll all see where it comes from. Is it going to be you that has to sell your Magic the Gathering cards to pay rent? Or is it going to be the game store or the big box store or Channel Snowball or Card Castles or one of those big greedy companies that has all the inventory and has been sitting on overinflated prices? Maybe we can finally start to see some deals on some of this stuff. Like, we're not buying $64,000 helms of Chatsuk because we know that's like not the real price. So even though like all these prices seem like, oh yeah, these prices are gonna come down. They for sure are gonna have to come down. Some of them aren't even real. Some of them are made up, and then they're speculative and market manipulated prices. So let's keep running. But there's a few cards that I still want to get, because like the fun value. Like, I play these cards. I play them all. Every single card in my collection, I play with it. I try and put it into a deck somewhere. And if these reserve list cards aren't getting any easier to come by, this may be another opportunity coming up this fall to actually get some. Let's take a read some comments here this morning. Stores stop their buy list or only trade in for store credit. A lot of stores in the last 15 years. Michael Superbacker says, in the last 15 years, wages haven't even doubled, while prices of food are 3x and 4x and 5x. Exactly. So now we've got a problem here. Like, what we've got right now is like we've got government workers. We've got like people working in the public sector who are on strike right now. So like you're gonna see unions going on strike right now. You're gonna see a lot of striking. It hasn't even begun. Like teachers unions and all these unionized associations. Now, like if you Card Kingdom, if you didn't know that, is unionized. I learned that just a while ago. They are unionized. Like they are organized. So that's one thing. Now some people say unionization is like, oh, here we go. Value chain. This is a good comment. Like all these menial jobs, all the Bernie bros ain't unionized. Unionized TCG Player Warehouse, unionized Starbucks workers, unionized Ubers, unionized drivers, etc. Exactly. So When we vote on your show the other morning, they are actually really going to make that Play-Doh magic set. Yeah, right? That's why I did it. Like, I mean, Brody's first to a lot of this stuff. It's Friday, right? So I'm trying to bring you folks some Magic the Gathering news as is happening. If you folks are tuning in on other YouTubers' channels on the weekend to get your Magic the Gathering news, I'm telling you, it's already too late. You're already behind. So it's great to catch up and get their perspectives. It's good because they get another perspective. But just if you want to hear what's happening a little bit early, first thing in the morning, that's why I get up. I kick the dog. I do like Garfield. I kick the dog. I kick it. I get the Odie and I kick that dog so hard. And like you got other people that are still sleeping in. Like they're just watching the world go by. Not Brody. I mean, I am like the Kobe Bryant of work ethic. Brody, please use clips or use any of them if you need to. I will. I got to check it out. Why can't it be a square table? We enjoy Magic for the game. It's interesting to hear them talk because Wizards is just a business to them. That's right. It is just a business for them because, like, right now, that's like Magic the Gathering is like the best made vacuum cleaner. That it's like the Dyson Power Blade vacuum cleaner of vacuum cleaners. It is a sucker of money. They can just like that saying money printer go burr? No. It's the opposite. It's not money printer go burr. It's money vacuum go suck. Right? It's like I am going to suck all the money that we possibly can out of our consumer base and people who are like not paying attention to like the actual state of the economy and are like, trying to get to magic events on donations. I think it's fine. It's interesting. We're gonna be okay. Timmy's important. Love the Lowry Morning Tau Shatter My Eventide set. I was playing when they came out and brought some new a few years ago. This Hasbro stock jump is wild. It sure is. I don't know. I don't know why. Uh, it's funny. Good comments. Keep the comments rolling. Good morning, Cosmic. Welcome from Las Vegas. Thanks for joining us. Benson's here. DJ Long. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? The later news reporters bring the trickling development after the news. Yeah, and there's something to be said. Yep, not good for Card Kingdom to be union. Well, there's going to be a lot of union strikes. Right now in Canada, we've got 13 like Michael Superbacker, that comment that you made in the last 15 years. In the last 15 years, the inflation has been killing it. It's just that's another money vacuum, right? It's like a money vacuum. So what happens when the prices of a box of Magic cards? Let's just switch here. Let's talk to you viewers. Let's talk to you folks. All right, let's talk to the folks. You folks. Hey you. Hey Christopher Nelson. You. I'm talking to you, buddy. I'm talking to you, Michael Superbacker. I'm talking to you, Mr. DJ Longer. I'm talking to you, Cosmic Seeds, Anger Collections, everybody who's tuning in. I'm talking to you folks. Like the way Wizards of the Coast, like this whole, you've heard the saying, money printer go burr. Well, Brody's making a new one. It's called Money Vacuum Go Suck. Okay. So forced rotation is a way of Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast to suck and drain your wallet, right? They can just it because they're just trying to like save themselves in reality. They've got debt to service too. So right now it's like a shuffling game. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I can tell you with certainty that I am feeling it as well. The rate of recuperation on debt is really slow. Don't loan anybody money in this economy. I'll tell you that. Don't loan any businesses money. Don't loan any people money. Like only friends and family. I'll tell you that much. Money is hard to go around. And right now, Hasbro is just like any other entity. They're wondering where are we gonna get the money? Where are we gonna get the money? So they look and they say, okay, we're gonna print some more cards so that players have to either incorporate them into their new decks or be obsolete and become old fogies and fuddy-duddies like Brody El Paso, right? Just because I'm too old. I brought out my old decks here, my old heroes deck. Yes, is this any good? You know, uh, my bones hurt and all that stuff. So if you don't want to fall behind in the metagame and be obsolete and not competitive anymore, then you got to buy the new stuff. So they start sucking the wallets. Now, what happens with inflation is sort of the same thing. Now, $100 box of Magic cards that has like 5% tax on it is now $200 box of Magic cards, and it's got 5% tax on it, but it's like double the amount of tax. So the corporations work hand in hand with the tax man to raise the price of everything, because increased prices means increased profit, means increased taxes. So you get to pay the tax man more. Instead of paying 5% on $100 box of Magic cards, they go, oh, this is actually, we could use some more of that stuff, that inflation stuff, because not only does it increase the price of everything, a box of Magic cards, it also increases the tax man's share of that box of Magic cards. And then like everybody who's like just a working man like myself, who gets up every morning to talk about Magic cards and then goes to work to like do my part to move the economy so that I can go and play at FNM, or I can do pre-release with my buddy Gaming Bob, who I bought like a couple of pre-release kits here of a new set, because like that's all I'm willing to put forward right there is pre-release kits for new products. That's all I'm willing to put forward. And the reason I like, so let's talk about that. Why does Brody only buy the pre-release kits on new sets now? That's it. I figured it out. Like I used to buy a box or a case of every set that came out. And then the sets came out so fast where it's like, hey, I can't keep up. I can't buy a case of every set. I can't buy a box of every set that comes out. But what I can do is I can buy some pre-release kits. Now, the thing I like about this is I think these are given to the stores for free based on how many players they have turn out. So when they fire events, these pre-release kits are given to the stores to promote the new set. They're able to sell them and make a couple bucks off of them, bring new players in, and hopefully that keeps the game store surviving. The more people show up, and this is why the old Planeswalker system was really good, because Wizards of the Coast store WPN networks used to register their pre-release events, and then all the players, you had to have a DCI number, and they would go in the database, and they would be able to track and see how many people showed up at their store. But because they were giving away these pre-release kits based on attendance, there was bad actors in stores where they would just get a hold of people's DCI numbers and add them to the tournament even though they weren't playing, in order to boost their numbers and get more free product, more pre-release kits from Wizards of the Coast. If you had a Wizards WPN store, that's the only way you could get the pre-release kits, unless you bought them on the secondary market. And when you fired event with 10 people and they sent you 10 pre-release kits and you fired the event with 10 people, the next time you had a pre-release, they'd send you a few more. They send you 12 or 15, or an even numbered 12 or 20. And then if that fired and you were able to fill it, then they would send you 30. And then they would see how the store, they don't just send out the same number of pre-release kits to all stores. The starting stores that are just getting started, they'll give you like a set number of 10, and if all the players register and it fills up the event, the next time they send them out, they'll give you a couple more until it's your registration drops off, and they say, okay, that's the most number of pre-release kits we're going to send you, because that's you can only draw 30 players. Like your store is only so big. But if the store is really big and it has a lot of square footage and it's a good store, more people, there's 60 or 80 people coming, a lot of stores are like, well, they have to work their way up to that. They can't just say, I need 80 pre-release kits because I'm a big store. They have to start with the allotment that Wizards gives them, make sure it sells, makes a couple bucks. But the reason I like them is because it's good money for the local game store. because I believe and they may still be doing this. Does anybody know if Wizards is still giving these to stores based on attendance? And then, of course, they have promos. And if you play one event, you get a promo. If you play 2 events, you get the in-store promo. And they do these things to get players out. And I buy, instead of buying a box of every set that releases, I'll buy it because like the box price is now like $200 or $300 for Modern Horizons 2. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna go and risk $200 or $300 on Modern Horizons 2. I'll buy my pre-release kit for 35 or 30 or $35. That way I know the store is getting some profit. They're moving their numbers. They're gonna get their pre-release kit sales up. They're gonna make good money off of that, and like I still get like some packaging, player experience, and I could probably buy a pre-release kit from every set, like I used to buy a box from every set. I can't do that anymore with the cost in this economy. So until it gets any better, that's what I'm doing. That's the strategy, and they're fun, right? It's like that's all I need. That is all I need. And you got to do this too, folks. You got to like figure out what works for you. You want to figure out like your budget and stuff, like what you're going to put aside, because like the whole old age buy a box of every set that comes out, it doesn't work for me anymore. There's going to be some stinkers in there eventually. Right. This is your morning show.
Buy low, sell high, that's my motto. I may just quit my job at the power plant and become a full-time stock market guy.
Right? All right, folks. I want to give a special thank you for you folks for joining me here on the Stock Channel. I really appreciate you folks. Let's read a couple comments. You're a true Canadian. Can we look at that horse? Can we look at the horse and AI cards again? The horse cat. Abso-friggin-lutely. Let's check out the horse cat. I'm going to leave you with that. Let's check out the horse cat. Friggin', of course. This is the cat horse. Loving it. The stuff they come up with, right? So now, like in this market, like jobs are going to get a little bit more replaceable with, hey, thanks, Michael Superbacker. I appreciate that. It will pop up at my 420. Love the concept. DJ. We need to set up a time to play. Yes. Well, I had to, Gaming Bob, I'm back. I had to take 2 days. I traveled a few thousand kilometers in the last 2 days. I had to go and take care of some stuff. I'm back now. This is my first day back from my emergency trip. The far, far away land and back. I had to go through a portal and return. Love those boxes, right? What else we got? 8-year-old track. That was a guy. I'm gonna read the comments here. Post. I gotta run. Thank you, folks, for joining me. This is your cat horse. This is the cat horse, bro. Saddle up your cat horse. Don't forget to feed your cat horse. All right. Just like a corduroy pillow. This is Brody Alfonso. We're making headlines here this morning. I want to thank each and every one of you folks for joining me. New subscriber, Christopher Nelson. Give a special thank you for Christopher. We're like the bloomin' Spartans. We're the 300. We are the 300. We are the 300. Love you guys. Thanks for joining me. Enjoy your day. May the sun be on your face and the wind at your back. It's Friday. Go slide down that dinosaur's tail, just like Fred Flintstone. Get yourself a big ribeye, maybe like a brontosaurus burger, something delicious. Feed the pups. And make sure you head on over to the Dual Brain channel. Give them a tell them Brody said hi. Shout out to the MTG Moxman and everybody else out there, Mr. DJ Longhairs. Talk to you guys later.